Salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all to tuning in today to Lions Talk Live Morning Show. Hey, Victory Monday. Say what you want. Blue Birds can be complaining about this. Other people can be praising that. Whatever it may be, hey, what we can say is the Detroit Lions are 9-3. I got to turn the volume down here so I don't get so much feedback. But anyways, 9-3. And you know what? There's a whole lot of teams in the NFL that wish they were 9-3 versus whatever the record is. I'm going to guess the Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears alone would love to have our record. But the fact of the matter is they don't have it. We've got it. And there's only a couple teams in the whole league that have something better than us. In fact, there's only one that comes to mind, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. They've been living La Vida Loca, winning a ton of games close. And yesterday, hey, I guess it just wasn't their day. The 49ers came ready to play. All right, as you guys all know, before we get into the bulk of today's conversations and chats, I got a couple things I got to do, so apologies. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Trying to make that push to get to 4,700 and then hopefully 4,800 by the start of next week's game. Also, if you would, while you're watching the show, please hit that thumbs up button. It really helps out a ton. One last thing. If you didn't know, outside of being a coach, a scout, and a YouTuber, I'm also a realtor and have been for over 30 years. If you are looking to buy or sell property in the state of Michigan, give me a call, 269-998-2384. Give me a call, shoot me a text. Let me see if I can work on your behalf, save you some money on either the purchase of or the sale of property. And with that being said, let's get on into the bulk of the chat because I do understand it's been moving and shaking a little bit this morning. I looked a couple minutes ago and it was already pretty deep. So I cannot imagine it's only gotten more. Bergs, what do you got? Woo! Good morning, Dan, Lions faithful. Good morning to you. Not a pretty win, but it's a dub. Lions secondary is very concerning. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think they're going to have to look to make some additions in the offseason. But let's also understand this. Emmanuel Moseley was supposed to be, if not the number one, the number two corner. That didn't happen. CJ Gardner-Johnson was supposed to add depth there. And obviously, same reason as Moseley. They both got hurt. So you're really down two of your more anticipated coverage guys, and they have been throughout most of the season. I give the guys credit. I mean, I get we can all complain about Jerry Jacobs or this or that or whatever, but let's also understand who those guys are. They're backups and depth pieces that the Lions have had to roll with all year because of injuries. So, we can all say what we want about them, but let's also be a little bit understanding of who they are and what they're giving us. All right, Susan, what do you got? Don't look now, but the NFC North isn't looking so weak. Packers might have found their future QB in Love. Yeah, you're right about that. I would say, Jordan Love has calmed down. He's gotten more familiar. I mean, they've got a very young offense overall. They've started to gel. They've started to come together. To me, the big test for Jordan Love, and probably not telling you guys something you don't already know, will be next year, because this year everybody's now going to have a ton of tape on him. What can they do to slow him down, etc.? But I would say if I'm the Detroit Lions, I would also throw this tidbit at you. Look at the rest of the Packers schedule. It's real possible they go 5-0 the rest of the way, which means they're at 11 wins. The Lions, in my anticipation out of these next 5 games, need to get 3 wins because that puts them at 12 wins. I don't know all the tiebreaker scenarios. I do know this. The Packers and Lions have split head-to-head. So if they both finish with 11, you better be sure if you're Detroit that you've got the tiebreaker advantages over them. Because I do agree, the Packers schedule, I can say this at this point, I think it's pretty soft. So they've got a real good chance to win out here. All right, Big Eddie, greetings and salutations all. Can't stay for the whole show, but I'm jumping in for the first part of it. And then listening on my way to work. Go Lions. Hey, thanks for that, Eddie. Hopefully you have a good one. Yeah, listen in the car, but don't watch it in the car. Ozzy Osbourne. Good morning. Bruce did good yesterday, but why can't Goff find Donovan Peoples-Jones? Went to the game. Lions crowd took over. Yeah, I seen some photos and some tidbits of some of the Lions faithful down there. And yeah, they've been traveling pretty well this year, without question. Phil, good morning, Dude Crew. How about those guts from the frozen tundra? Yeah, I mean, the Packers, yeah, they've become something. And I'm going to say this, what they did to Kansas City last night at least makes me feel a little bit better about what the Lions endured there on Thanksgiving. That being said, I do think the Lions can beat them. And I'll even throw you guys one other thing. I do think it will be the Lions versus the Packers in a playoff game. I do believe the Minnesota Vikings are going to fall out of the playoff race. I don't know at this point. I'm actually rooting for the Vikings to beat the Packers the next time they play because I do think that might be the only game left on the Packers schedule they could potentially lose. All right, JDC, good morning, all. Michael, and good morning to you, JDC. Michael, what do you got? Greetings and salutations, y'all. Another nail biter. Don't know how many more I can take from the Cardiac Cats. I just think it's going to be the nature of things because this defense, let's say this, Bruce Irvin is going to help. I think we can all say that at this point, especially as he continues to get in better and better shape. James Houston, as we talked about last week, we're probably going to get some kind of update on him in the next, 48, 72 hours. Hopefully he's back by the Denver game because like I said, I think the Lions are going to have to win 3 out of the next 5 games to secure the NFC North. But James Houston would help a lot. Man, at this point, we could probably also say C.J. Gardner-Johnson would help a lot. And between those two and Bruce Irvin, at least the defense starts having some weapons. All right, Clark, what do you got? Greetings and salutations. Every game is an adventure with this team. Yes, it is 100%. 9-3, baby. Yeah, I agree. They're they give you a reason to keep watching, right? You can't ever turn to something else. Barbalons, what do you got? What are the chances Glenn is still with us next season? All right, so watching some of the game film last night and then again this morning, here's what I'd say with Aaron Glenn. I don't think a lot of the schemes are that terrible. But I will say this, you got to have players that are better than what we currently have. Sort of like I was just saying with Jerry Jacobs, he was never meant to be in this role. Give him props for what he's doing. It's not great. He should have had probably a pick 6 yesterday, but Brian Branch busted it up. So here's what I'll say. I think Aaron Glenn would look a whole lot better if we had better parts. And if Bruce Irvin and James Houston come back, and they can provide more and more pass rush, this defense might look a wee bit different. C.J. Gardner-Johnson or Ducey or whatever his new name is, if he comes back and can just add another little bit of a uptick in that secondary, then I think this defense starts looking a whole lot different. At which point, Glenn probably starts looking better. Because I will say this, it's hard as a coach to make chicken soup out of chicken stuff. Now, I will say this, Glenn needs to make faster adjustments, needs to mix things up a little bit more. I get all that part. But in regards to his future, I don't know, man. I'm going to leave that to MCDC. I probably would be moving on because I want more of an aggressive coach. And that's clearly not what Glenn wants to do on a regular basis. But they're not asking me. All right, JDC, what do we got for any Lions fan that wants an antiseptic type of win? It's going to happen. Go Lions. All right, I'll go with that. Booth, good morning, Duke Crew. Victory Monday. Good morning to you, too. Hopefully you have a great one. Mike, what do you got? At Barbalons, not good unless we get better defense fast. Yeah, and, hopefully, again, with Irvin, I get yesterday was a sample, but it's clear he provides a lot more athleticism. I'll even throw you one other, Javen Reeves-Maybin. I forgot how athletic this dude is. And even though he's been in the league and on the Lions for probably a decade, he's a little bit smaller, but he can do some things because of his athleticism and his coverage abilities. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing him on the field more and more because he's hard to pick up behind a defensive line. He can slip in gaps because most people don't see him coming. And then again, in coverage, he's not so bad either. Maybe even better than the majority of our linebackers back there. Phil, playing not to lose instead of win is not a good formula. John Fax has to go. 4-3 is not a good scheme for the club. Yeah, I would say this. I'm 1,000% right with you. I know I mentioned it in the post-game show yesterday. You get up 21-0, that's when you should be going for your kill shots, your deep shots down the field, because really, if something doesn't work out, you still got that cushion. But I'm a big fan. You get them down, you beat them down, and you beat them down until the final whistle. And not to be disrespectful or mean to anybody, but I'm not going to give you a chance to make a comeback. We are going to hit you and keep hitting you until there is zero chance for you to come back. So that's one thing I would agree with you, Phil, that this coaching staff needs to learn a little bit more. there's no such thing as a safe lead in the NFL or any pro sports. Pat, greetings and salutations, everyone. Just survive in advance. I 1,000% agree with that. Yeah. Just doesn't matter how you do it, get that win. Eduardo, what do you got? How do you feel about how the defense played? Do you think AG made enough changes? I mean, I get we're all not happy with the defense. I do think a lot of it, though. I mean, yes, Glenn deserves some blame for what the defense is. So does Martin Mayhew, though. He's put a lot of these players on the field for Aaron Glenn to cook with. So basically, somebody went to the grocery store, bought the stuff, and we're complaining about the chef making something out of it, is kind of how I would analogize it. The Lions D just doesn't have much talent on it, in my opinion. There's some parts for sure. I will say this. I thought Jack Campbell played real well yesterday. Not perfect, but real well. Superseded my expectations. Jalen Reed-Mavens, I think you got to find more and more ways to use him because, again, he can add coverage, and he's got athleticism that most of the guys don't have. Same with Mr. AARP, according to Detroit, it would be Bruce Irvin. Again, you need more athletes on the defense, and we've got some good dudes. It's just they're not the most athletic guys. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it the more I watch film on them. But doesn't mean Aaron Glenn couldn't scheme things up a little bit better. Anthony, good morning, all. Is it me or are we just squeaking by with RD? We will not beat the 49ers, Dallas, or anyone really in the playoffs. We are messed up. Is what it is, man. I mean, I get this. I think we all need to take a step back and say, hey, 2.5 years ago, this team was trash. Last year, obviously, they kicked some things in gear. A lot of that was because of the defense, because we did have more man-to-man coverage players. And it's odd that we can say this now after an offseason where we picked up some defense players. We don't have those type of guys now. We also don't have the same pass rush we had a year ago. Hopefully, we can get some of that back going down the stretch, and that would help a lot. But we're pretty good against the run. We're not so good against the pass, and a lot of that is the symbiotic relationship between having to play so much zone because we don't have enough athletes in the secondary to cover long, and a lot of that's because of injuries or whatever. But the other part is we just can't get pass pressure consistently, and it's saying something when you sign a guy off the streets and he might be one of your top pass rushers. And be Bruce Irvin, by the way. JDC division is getting interesting. Haven't seen this in years. Yeah, I think there's a real chance that the Lions will finish with 11 to 12 wins. The Packers might be right there. So Packers might be right there. Who knows with the Vikings? It's possible they could finish with 10 to 11 wins. And that means you got 3 teams who are all at the top. We all look at our record and say, hey, we should be able to do this or that, but every game is different. And I want to say this, the trend is your friend. And right now we can say this, the Lions are surviving and finding ways to win. Doesn't matter how great they look. The Packers have turned a corner. They have a real opportunity to look at that rest of the schedule. I just think you're going to catch a lot regarding their schedule. You're going to catch a lot of teams that are now in the next couple of weeks falling out of playoff potential. So you might be able to beat up on some teams if you're the Packers. And again, there's a real chance they could go 5-0. Who knows with Minnesota Vikings? I get their quarterback situation isn't great, but I do think it's going to be a dogfight into the finish here. All right, my marker. Ain't it sweet? Yes, it's a great day to be a Lions fan. I mean, hey, Victory Monday. Eduardo, with Green Bay winning last night, it makes the Chicago game mean a lot more. Need to win that one. Yeah, I think you're going to have to win that one. You're going to have to probably, hate to say it, but you're probably going to have to win, like I said, 3 or 4 of the final 5 games in order to secure the NFC North. Because the Packers, since they took one from us, I don't know all the tiebreakers. Maybe somebody else does. Throw it in the comment section if you do. But I think it's going to come down to the very last game of the season. All right, Trey, what do you got? All I know is this team needs more players on defense. For the second straight year, we have a winning record and in the playoff hunt during the final month of the season. Yeah, and something to be thankful for because the days of, we'd already be 2 months into draft talk because the Lions were that bad. And that seems to have been now a thing of the past. Phil, NFC North isn't so bad these days. Yes, agree. It's definitely getting better. JDC, bring on the Bearleys. All right, I'm down with that. Hooker time. FSU got hosed. No wonder people think this stuff is a joke. Yeah, I mean, I was a little surprised they weren't put in the playoff, the round of 4, but it is what it is. Terrence, what we got to understand is we are going to get everyone's best shot because of our record and hype. I would agree with that 100%. And everybody's coming out after it. I would also say the coaching staff has got to find more ways when you got a big lead to keep pouring it on. All right, Garland, looks like the Packers, Vikings, and Bears will be hard to deal with for the next several years. It's quite possible. The Packers are looking pretty nice. Minnesota, they get Kirk Cousins back, which there's a high probability, I guess you could say, they would re-sign him. They're not going anywhere. And then, the Bears, it just depends on what they do with their draft picks, I'm thinking. But the Bears do have some nice young parts. All right, Anthony, we blew a 21-point lead. Hey, we got them back into the game, but we didn't blow it to the point where we lost the game. So there is that too. All right, JP, what do you got? I thought the Packers played a good game against the Lions. They are better than a 6-6 team right now. Right now, I would agree. Yes, they are superseding their current record. Robert, wow, what a game, or was it? It's a game we got to win in. We overcame some adversity. We showed some grit. Whatever you want to say, but hey, they got it done. And that's, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Imagine what it would be like in Lions Nation today if we had blown the game and then we'd been 8-4 with the Packers right behind us. Eduardo, what do you got? 9-3 is good, but once playoff starts, records don't matter. And if they get bounced in the first round because of coaching staff, I don't want to hear. But Atlanta, we finished with 11 wins or something. Yeah, I would say I really do think more and more we're going to have 12 wins in order to secure the North. So you got to get 3 more wins out of the next 5 games. Terrence, can't blow a lead if you win. This is true. Very true. Very true. Booth, win a playoff game this year. It's not Super Bowl or bust, but we can do things better. I'm very excited about where we are now. Yeah, I think the team is trending in the right direction. It's just they need more. They need more talent, especially on D. John, clearly Dan needs to start the show at 6:30 a.m. Yeah, it does seem like, hey, people are jumping in the chat. But, hey, it's Victory Monday. I get it, man. Maybe I should have started earlier. Right. That was a good. Eduardo, any competent QB and receivers duels will eat us alive. It is what it is, guys. I mean, it's not like we're going to go out and get a bunch of new players or new coaching staff. So, I'm hoping we can get a little bit healthier there, which would help some, but we only have so much to work with, both from a coaching standpoint, but also from a player standpoint. Phil, 3 points to 30 points. We got the win. Yep, I agree. It just win, baby. Darrell, what do you got? Ben Johnson is holding the offense back. Reminds me of a jockey pulling back on the reins of a horse race. Good analogy there. Wouldn't let the horse hit full stride. The offense is potent. Yeah, I agree. He's got to open it up more. And again, especially when you got a lead, it'd be one thing if you started pulling the reins back, say halfway through the third quarter and you got a 21-point lead, or maybe closer to the fourth quarter or even in the fourth quarter. But that early in the game, you've got to keep going because you've got to give the other side of the ball absolutely zero belief they can come back and win. All right, JDC. I sheet my diapers twice that game. I bet you did. Hey, Anthony, what do you got? Clearly, we got lucky. Hey, I'll take it because you know what? I'd rather be real lucky than real bad. I'll take that anytime. JP, what do you got? The defense was good at times yesterday. I think Irvin is going to make a huge difference. Yeah, I agree. I think if you can get him going, and like I said, hopefully we get some good news this week on James Houston, because you start getting multiple guys that can get to the quarterback. Now you don't have to rely so much on one. You can spell them all, and everybody starts getting better. What I like when I watched the game yesterday and the replay is the fact that Aiden Hutchinson, use this as an example. He gets initial pressure. It forces the quarterback to step into the pocket, which now there's somebody to clean him up. Bruce Irvin forces pressure on the quarterback. It now allows or forces the quarterback to step up or out wide in the pocket, which forces them into pressure in somebody else. So it's very much one guy helps the other. And I think if this can be sustainable, if they can keep doing it and even potentially getting better with it, you're going to see the Lions defense look better because it's simply not giving so much time to the other quarterback. All right, Hooker time. What do we got? Goff is good if protected. He threw only 2 real dumb passes. Other than that, he played well. Hooker is the future, though. It could be, man. It could be Hooker time, but we won't know that until the offseason next year. So we'll wait and see what happens. All right, Eduardo, we still need to get J-Mo more involved. I would agree. He'll be the key for us to break open games. I would also agree with that. Yeah, you've got to find ways because he is just he's just next level when it comes to athleticism. He's just incredibly rare. They've got to get him more involved because it just changes how defenses can play you. All right, Voltron, good morning. Good morning to you too. Anthony, we're 1 injury away from going anywhere in the playoffs. Yeah, well, I get it, but you know what? Let's also say we're 9-3. How many other teams in the NFL have that? So I get your point, but there's a lot of teams, a whole lot of fan bases that would rather be 9-3 than where they currently are. All right, Darrell, what do you got? Why is Aaron Glenn so conservative? That's a great question. He starts out aggressive, then gets conservative. I think he's just afraid to get burned. And I'll just say this: you can't play scared. You can't play afraid. You got to go out there and do what you're going to do, and then live with the results. You force the other teams into less advantageous positions and situations. Donkey Kong, Super Bowl or bust. That's what I'm saying, buddy. Maybe we can make it happen this year. Eduardo, any news on Frank with Scoresdale, who is trash out there? The Chicago game is a whole lot harder. Yeah, they're going to have to figure out that guard position. We won't get an update officially on Frank the Tank until my guess is probably Tuesday. Maybe something comes out today. But I would say this: if you listen to MCDC, the post game, it sounds like he felt it was a lot more positive than what he initially thought. So what that means, he might have initially thought when he went off the field, he tore up his knee and it was done for the year. And then, hey, maybe it's only a week or two. But I will say, we're probably going to be without him for a week or so. Don Kong, Packers going to win the division. Lions lose out. I don't think, if the Lions, like I said earlier, they win 4 of the next 5, there's no way the Packers can catch them. But the Packers have a real good shot at winning out from here. So if they go 5-0, that puts them at 11 wins. And again, I don't know the tiebreakers. I just know head-to-head they're going to be even. So somebody else can look up the tiebreakers and maybe give us an idea. But, the Lions are going to have to – well, I guess we got 9 wins. So, yeah, we're going to have to get 3 wins out of the next 5. So that would put us at 12. All right, Phil, Googled the nearest bridge to jump off till Dan will come and calm things down. All right, well, hey, maybe don't jump off anything just yet, Phil. Hooker time. Green Bay could win out. Giants, Bucks, Panthers, the Bears. That's 11 wins. Yeah, so we've got 9 now. So we get 3 out of the last 5. Sorry, I think I was doing it wrong in my head earlier. Well, I was saying 4 wins. Then we would win the division. They can't catch us. But, maybe we're hoping that, Minnesota can't figure out their quarterback situation. We can get 2 wins there. And then against maybe the Packers or something. Or not the Packers, the Bears. That would be your 3. But doesn't matter how you do it. You got 5 games left. Get 3 wins. T-Born, Packers are a real threat. They are. And I think the Lions this offseason are going to have to say, hey, we've got to, add some parts on defense to help combat the Packers. All right, JDC, will the old saying hold true? Defense wins championships? Probably. Although I will say, if you look at more recent Super Bowls, they've been some offensive powered teams that had, decent defenses. So at any rate, I think the Lions, no matter what this offseason, they're going to have to address interior offensive line, defensive end, and cornerback. I think other than that on the team, they're pretty sound. Eduardo, Scoresdale had maybe one good play all game where he didn't get beat. There has to be someone better than him. There might be, but I can't think of any free agents. And obviously on the team, I'm not sure who you could bring in. Maybe Skipper. Maybe you play him there. I get your wanting to play the rookie to get him better. And he's had moments he's looked good, but it wasn't yesterday. He did not look great yesterday. He didn't look good against the Packers either. All right, Wardo, what do you got? If the Lions lose the division to Green Bay, I'm going to be sick. Well, I would say this. Let's take it week by week. But right now, you're a Lions fan. Let's just focus on Chicago. You get that win, then you only need 2 more wins the rest of the way to secure the division. Mile marker, 9-3 makes me happy. Me too, man. It's been a long time. JDC, Eduardo, me too. I live amongst the Cheddars. So, yeah, we got to do this just for you, man, just for your sanity. Brother Ken, no one's coming to save us. Chiefs lost, so did the Eagles. If we're going to win this thing, we're going to have to take this mother. Yes, I agree. You're going to have to go out there, and it all starts in Chicago. That becomes, it was a must-win game before. It's massive now. You get to 10 wins, your magic number to secure the division now goes down to 2 with 4 games to go. So that last game of the regular season could be the mother load of games, man. They might not be able to take it off. So see what shakes out. Unless somebody can do us a solid that we're not anticipating, I think the Packers probably will go 5-0. Anthony, don't tell me wrong. 47 years I've been waiting. 9-3 is amazing. Should be satisfied. We want more. Yeah, sure. Nothing wrong with that, man. We all want more, man. Who doesn't? That's part of being the fans. We want a Super Bowl. So I get it, man. Jason, what do you got? We need defense bad. Yeah, 1,000% agree. Robert, it was what defense people would you keep for next year's team? So who would I keep on the team from defense? Well, go with Hutch. I'd say all the linebackers are fine. Aleem's fine. Some of the other interior defensive linemen are fine. It's just you don't get pass rush on them. But are they good for depth in different situations? Absolutely, man. Bruce Irvin at this point I'd keep. Hate saying it, man, but I would just because he gives you something you don't have. The cornerback situation, I like Jerry Jacobs. I don't like him as a first or second or number 3 corner. I like him as depth. Kirby Joseph, yeah, I'd keep him. Cam Sutton, I'd keep. It's just you need more starters and more studs. You're going to have to address that pass rush. You're going to have to get more athletes out there. I would also say at cornerback, you got to get vastly more athletic. And there's a reason why we don't play a ton of man-to-man because those guys can't hold up in man-to-man. So say what you want, but I think that's where I'd start. I'd start with the defensive front and then the secondary and get some dudes back there, get some guys that can run back there, some guys that can move. Not that these guys are bad, they're just not able to keep up with a lot more athletic players. David, wow, the Packers are serious. Yeah, man, I would have loved them to lose last night because I think that would have eliminated them basically from being able to catch us in the North, but that didn't happen. Hooker time. The defense is without CJ, Houston, Mosley, Bugs, and Alex. Yikes. Karen Glenn is undermanned. Yeah. I would say this. I don't think you're going to see Bugs again in a Lions uniform. I know I reported that about a month ago, but unless something really changes, and who knows if that could happen, he's done here in Detroit. And if you want to know why and all that, just check out the video. CJ, he would help a lot with the athleticism. Same with Houston. Mosley, I think would have helped out quite a bit. So, it is what it is. They're all gone and out. Alex will be back, I'm guessing, this particular against Chicago, which would be nice. But not that Jack Campbell did a bad job with anything, but we'll see how much the Lions have augmented the defense a little bit with Jalen Reeves-Mavens, which against Chicago and a mobile quarterback, I think he could be a huge plus. Same with Bruce Irvin. I don't think there's any chance Houston plays next week, but who knows? I've been wrong before. JDC, what do you got? Made this for your coach. Give us another woo! There you go, man. It's early in the morning, though. I don't want to do that to too many people. All right, Jerome, good morning, Coach. We got the win. Eagles lost. And who knows, man? Maybe the 49ers lose a couple of games and we can get back the number 2 seed. But I'm going to say this. At this point, as a coach, all I'm worried about is us. We control our own fate. I ain't going to worry about first or second seed or third seed or anything. I just want to secure the North at this point so we have a home playoff game. And in order to do that, we need 3 more wins. Hey, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. Great win. I'll take it. But the division is up for grabs. ND, it's going to be a race. It is. It's going to be a race into the final week. And who knows what's going to happen. The Lions, if they can get 2 more wins and then go into the final week, if nothing else, I'm thinking Minnesota might not have a whole lot to play for. We'll be, help me if I'm wrong here. I think we're at home for that last playoff game, or excuse me, last regular season game. I think I got that right here. We do. Yeah, we're home for that January 7th. I do think by that point in the season, Houston and CJ Gardner-Johnson are back. Who knows who the Vikings have at quarterback? So, I mean, it's possible. We just got to start by winning against Chicago. Brother Ken, unless the Lions get deep in the playoffs, Aaron Glenn has got to go. Yeah, I would say you get to the Super Bowl, he's probably safe and secure. You get one and done, he's probably gone. You get one win, who knows? I guess it depends on where you're going to put the blame on that next game loss. Excuse me. All right, Southwest, what do you got, Dan? I've heard some people say that players get open against zone coverages or zone defenses, but watching the game yesterday, they were getting wide open 1 or 2 seconds off the ball after the ball was snapped. Yeah, they Southwest, you're not wrong. I'm just trying to think, man, where do you pick your poison? They can't cover people man to man. The couple times they tried yesterday, I think I mentioned this in the postgame show. So start with Tracy Walker. He's very good at some things. He's very good at playing at the line of scrimmage, basically, sniffing out the run, screen passes, things like that. He's terrible in coverage. And it's no disrespect to the dude. It's just not his wheelhouse. So asking him to go out there and guard somebody man to man, you're probably giving up some points. Jerry Jacobs, kind of the same boat. I mean, he's not bad in man. He's not bad in zone. It's just he's not quite athletic enough to be relevant in either system. But again, in his defense, he's not meant to be out there. He is meant to be a depth piece for you. But because they got so eviscerated in the secondary, he's got to be out there. And he's given it his all. With that being said, he came within about 4 feet of a pick six yesterday. If Brian Branch doesn't bust that thing up, he's making a house call, and we're probably all having a different conversation about him. So it is what it is. I think a lot of the more I watch the tape, yes, I don't agree with Aaron Glenn's style. Yes, I don't agree with his adjustments. I get all that stuff. That's coaching stuff. I also get he doesn't have a whole lot to work with. So to me, I would be pointing some of the defense's blame right at the front office and saying, you guys could have done something in the trade deadline or in the draft or whatever you want to say, man. Free agency, but they didn't. The free agent targets they brought in, unfortunately, Emmanuel Mosley was hurt when you signed him. He's going to end the season hurt. CJ Gardner-Johnson, I mean, nothing you can do about that. He just got hurt. And if you were to have those two out there along with Houston, would this defense be great? No. Would it be vastly different? Yes, in my opinion. Brandon, what do you got? Where's Donovan Peoples-Jones? He was on the field a couple times yesterday. He just didn't get any throws. Detroit D, good morning, Pride Nation. Same to you. Anthony, thank you very much for that. Hey, man, I'm going to buy a Mountain Dew thanks to you today. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate that, buddy. Eduardo, what do you got? As long as Lions win one Chicago game and one Minnesota win, they win the division based on record versus common opponents. Okay, because that's what I don't know. With the Packers finished with the same record as the Lions, who wins the head-to-head? So that's good news there, Eduardo. Thank you very much for that. All right, Detroit D, what do you got? We can't take our foot off the gas when we have a team down. I agree, and I put that part on the coaching staff. And I've had my issues with Aaron Glenn. Yes, I'm trying to defend him a little bit today, but I also think we all get it that he's going to have to mature as a coach. I'm going to say the same thing for Ben Johnson. You get a 21-point lead. Stop running, some of these intermediate routes that everybody the last month have been sitting on, waiting with open breath to jump on some of these routes. Take some more deep shots with James Williams. Unless you think you can't throw to Josh Reynolds or J-Mo or Khalif Raymond deep, are you trying to say, Jared Goff can't throw those passes? If it is, then that'd be another reason to maybe raise your eyebrow about re-signing Jared Goff, because are you saying Ben Johnson, he's not capable of extending the field to put more pressure on other defenses? So that, I guess, would be another question, but not one I'll jump into today because, to be honest, I can't answer it, and maybe somebody in the comment section can. Eduardo, Chicago is coming from a bye, and they'll be motivated. They will be, man, 100%. Yeah, they know they let one slip away. They're going to want to get this win. I'm just hoping, I'm really hoping Frank Ragnow can play. I think that's probably a long shot at best. But we are a vastly different offense when that offensive line's out there. And you can see, unfortunately, some of our depth pieces just aren't that sound. And nothing against Scoresdale. I get he's a rookie. I get he's in over his head right now. But man, oh man, some of that Chicago games, a lot of that Green Bay game against them is because of the offensive line. You had backups out there, and you could see how it affected the offense exponentially. All right, what do you got? The Southwest line. Carr was missing wide open receivers. I just have to think there's not being a good job in coaching up these players. They're not that bad. They can't be. We're really diving into that today, or all of this today on the defense. There's a lot of things in play. I do think you've got to do more things to not be so predictable in your pre-snap reads. And I've probably preached that to you and everybody listening for a while with Aaron Glenn. He's clearly not evolved that well as a coach in those regards. He doesn't mix them up well. He doesn't, give you one look and really you're giving something else on the defense. That's the stuff where I think, Aaron Glenn's not great, I guess is the polite way to say it. But I am also trying to give him some leeway in saying some of this is on the players too, or the players that they have to work with. All right, Detroit D, what do you got? Both Ben and AG got real conservative. They did 100%. And that's, I think, the sign of, again, lesser experienced coaches. Ed, what do you got? JMO looks real fast. Get him the ball. I agree. He is a matchup nightmare for everybody. And he's probably the fastest guy in the league out who's not named Tyreek Hill. And you've got to get that dude more involved. Archie, what do you got? Looks like I'm around. Ruined a TD pass to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Yeah, where he tipped a little bit. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, where Peoples-Jones was working the back of the end zone. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Wardo, if we go up 21-0, we need to stay aggressive. I agree. I don't know why we go conservative like as we have the 85 Bears defense or something. I get it, man. Yeah, keep pouring it on, man. All right, Southwest Green Bay is doing what the Lions did last year. They're playing better in December. The Lions are playing worse. I get it. The Lions have been figured out a little bit. They are playing more conservative. And I get some of the offensive line stuff is hurting them. That being said, even though we have not played great, we've only lost one game out of that stretch. So hopefully some point we right the ship and get better here, because if we can start that Sunday, we get that win Sunday, man, you can probably start tasting the NFC North title. One funky. Arshan, was a bad throw? Stop it. No. All right, fair enough. Steve, greetings and salutations from the Hookman. I have mixed emotions about the Packers win. On one hand, I am happy that it was a good team that they beat us on Thanksgiving, but now have a threat in the division. Yeah, they're definitely turning the corner, Steve. I get your point that at one point it makes our loss to them look a whole lot better. They have turned it. They do got some dudes on defense. They are pretty good, and now that young offense is starting to mature. I don't know. I'm hoping they can lose one or two of the remaining games. I just don't think that's going to be probable. If we can get one more loss out of them, that would be great, because that would mean we only really need to win. If Wardo's information is correct, we only need one more win in that scenario. But I do think it's a strong possibility the Packers win out and win the last five. Ed, what do you got? Green Bay versus Vikes will decide our fate. Hey, we win out or we win 4 of the remaining 5 games, we'll control our own fate. We only win 3, then yeah, you're right. Then Green Bay versus Vikes will decide our fate. Vikings, man, if they don't figure out that quarterback position, the only thing I will say is maybe that helps us out a bit. All right, Southwest Ben Johnson should know better. You can't put your offense in cruise control with this Lions defense. Yeah, I would agree. You're going to have to be more aggressive, more assertive, and you're going to have to roll with it, because I look at it this way. You're up 21-0. I take some deep shots or, some of the trick plays. If I throw an interception or a fumble, or if I just, go 3 and out or any of those scenarios, I still got the 21-point lead. Yes, maybe the defense is in a bad situation if we turn the ball over, but you got to go for the kill shots. You got to go aggressively say, hey, we're going to try to score every drive instead of just getting conservative and just saying, hey, we're just going to let them eventually figure out how to score on us and just get complacent on both sides of the ball. That's ugh. All right, Pierce, good morning. Morning, coach. It's time to bring Bugs back, and we need Frank back. Yeah, Frank, I think we 100% need Bugs. I'm hopeful the relationship between both parties can be mended. But with that being said, I gotta believe it's been a month ago I reported the Aaron Glenn versus Bugs debate that they had in each other's faces. And I thought it'd be a big tell if they didn't reactivate him within a week or two. And it's got to be close to a month now. So if they haven't mended those fences by now, I just really wonder if it's even possible. Maybe it is, but it's not looking good. All right, one funky Southwest. The Packers are 16-0 in December the last 4 years. Oh, I see what you're saying because, yeah, our win against them last year in Green Bay, that would have been in January. So, gotcha. All right, Donkey Kong, Lions will lose out. It's Donkey Kong, I think you need a Mountain Dew, man. Come on now. Let's be positive in here about some stuff. All right, mile marker. I've backed Irvin. I'm pleased with Irvin, but he doesn't need to go all Sue on us. Play good, smart, not stupid penalties. Yeah, I think some of that may be mile marker. Just his first game back, a little adrenaline, a little maybe too much adrenaline. He's played in the league long enough. No, you can't hold on and drive him to the ground, but it is a different league than it once was, but yeah, he's going to have to make sure that doesn't happen again. Don Burr, what do you got? Duncan, you're going too far now. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. So moving on. All right, Ed, there is a lack of talent on defense. I'm not going to dish AG until next year. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do in the offseason, but whoever is going to, whether it's Aaron Glenn or whoever is going to be the DC next year, they're going to need to get some better options to work with. They're going to have to sign some people probably in free agency, and you're going to probably have to go out and draft some guys as well. Because like I said, at least my pre-draft breakdowns that I've been slowly working on, it just depends on how the board falls to you, but you're going to have to get interior offensive line, defensive edge, and then cornerback. Other than that, I think the team's pretty decent across the board. Don, what do you got? Ben Johnson and AG both look like rookie coordinators. They are getting exposed a little bit. And again, Ben Johnson looked great last year. Not everybody had enough film on him. Now they do, and you're starting to see it's getting harder and harder for him to get the same results that he once did with the offense. Aaron Glenn, I think we've kind of jumped on that one enough this morning. One funky, I love how people are crying about the defense. Must have missed how the Lions offense was the only reason they were up 21-0. I get you on that one, 100%. Wardo, Irvin is already the second best pass rusher on the team. That is depressing. Hey, it might be depressing, but at least he's here, right? Because hey, now you got two guys that are decent, if not pretty good. So my only thing, Eduardo and everybody, is that I think you're going to, over these last 5 games, you've got to find more ways to get Hutchinson some rest so his body can try to rejuvenate and get some energy back because he looks tired as all hell to be. All right, Southwest Lion. Irvin hit on Carr, came right after he let the ball go. How is a player supposed to stop their forward momentum and not land on the quarterback? It was a clean hit. It was. It's just what they're saying per the rule nowadays is once you grab them and hold them, you're supposed to try to release and take your weight off them. And I think it's just a real tough thing to do when you're asking a guy to go full forward, hit that quarterback, and now miraculously, now that you hit the guy, we need you to slide off him so you don't land on him. That's a tough one. Hooker time. Undermanned points in the first 7 minutes. Then our offense went flat like the earth. Offense struggled too. Yeah, it's they're going to have to adjust some things, and you're seeing the results of a younger offensive coordinator. Hooker time. Our last drive to end the game was impressive. Yeah, when it mattered, they showed up, but they've got to have that kind of approach, earlier in games, put games away. Don, this Bears game won't be easy. They are still pissed over last game. 100%, man. Yeah, and you've got people playing for their lives over there. We talked about it before, even the first Bears game. Justin Fields is going to give you everything he can because he's playing to remain the Bears starting quarterback beyond this year, or if nothing else, a starting quarterback in the NFL. So I 1,000% agree with you. Him, the coaching staff, I mean, they want them to keep their jobs, and they're just as aware as probably anybody watching this show. People are coming for their jobs. Anthony, good morning. Why can't we stop a running QB when we know it's coming? That was so frustrating. Hill was unstoppable. It was, but yeah, I will say this with Taysom Hill, they've been giving that problem to people for however many years now. It's not new, and I will say this for Aaron Glenn. I thought he dialed up enough things or adjustments to where it became less effective at times, but you're not going to stop it all the time. Excuse me. Gun guy, Goff shredded a top pass defense, dropping dimes in tight windows all day. Put some respect on him. Hooker needs to sit down and take notes. And I'm sure that's part of why they started the 21-day window with Hooker is just, get him on the field, get him learning, getting something out of this season for this kid. So it's not just a complete wash. Then he'll have the offseason. He'll have the OTAs. He'll have the preseason next year. And he'll have all next year to learn from Goff. What they're going to do with Goff, it's anybody's guess at this point. We'll have to wait. But that's probably future topics of conversations. All right, Southwest, Jared Goff is certainly not the most athletic quarterback. But under pressure, he made some clutch throws in that final drive. Yeah, and I would even say the drive before that, the way he stepped in the pocket and threw to Montgomery, I get Montgomery wasn't expecting it. You got to be, though. But that was a pretty nice play. Under pressure, under duress, he not only avoided the rush, but made the correct throw. And, Montgomery holds on. He would have had the first down. Vincent, what do you got? What is Ben Johnson doing with the offense? It's prudent at best. Yeah, he got way conservative, didn't he? And, man, you've got all these weapons. And you've got to take when you got your opportunities, you got to take your shots and try to really put pressure on opposing defenses. That's where I think he's really kind of regressed this year, and not just this game, but for the last, we'll say, 2 months. Teams are overplaying your out routes. They're overplaying the middle of the field. You've got to do some things to loosen that up. And I thought for sure they would come out and attack that against the Saints, and they didn't. They're going to have to do it against the Bears because the Bears do have a legit pass rush. You're going to have to protect Goff. You're going to have to do something to, again, extend the defense's coverage responsibilities. It can't just be, 10 to 15 yards they got to cover. You got to make them cover 20, 30 yards down the field, which now opens up a lot of the preferred routes Ben Johnson likes to throw. Ed, what do you got? Hey, Coach, I'm 73 years old. I see a lot of Lions games. I've seen a lot of Lions games. I will take 9-3 and let's go Lions. Agreed, 100%. Southwest, Aaron Glenn is in his third year. This is not enough talent argument. I've heard some people make just don't wash with me. Better coordinator, camouflage the deficiencies of the person. I would agree with that 100%. I mean, I've said for a while on the show things I would do. It's clearly not things Aaron Glenn would do. And, this is clearly who he is as a defensive coordinator. He is not uber aggressive. He is not, he's not going to take chances. He either doesn't know how to, camouflage different looks to give quarterbacks one pre-snap read and then post-snap give them something else. And that's where I think, if he's going to stay as a defense coordinator, whether with the Lions or somebody else, he's going to have to evolve his skill set beyond that. So I get your point there, Southwest. Kendall, what do you got? I think you meant to say Brad Holmes, not Martin May. Yes. Sorry about that. Corey, what do you got? The defense played well yesterday, though for the most part. Yep. Few mistakes on long thirds, on thirds and longs. If those don't happen, you're looking at a different game. Yeah, third and long, they got roasted yesterday. They got roasted bad. Bears are going to kick our butt. Well, I hope you're wrong on that. Steve, what's been screwing the defense is the penalties on third down. And like Corey just pointed out, that they're giving up too many third and long plays, whether penalties or otherwise. All right, Brother Ken, what do you got? I agree 100%. Dan, no matter how great a coach is, If he has to have the horses. Lions only have 2 talented D linemen. I would agree, and one of them. I mean, I guess you could say we'll wait and see on Irvin, but because yesterday might not be his norm. I think their linebackers are sound. I think they're adequate at safety. They're not great. Yeah, the defensive line can't put enough consistent pressure on people. I'll put it this way: you watch some of the other teams we're going to face coming up here, the Bears, the Vikings, Cowboys. Those D lines get after people. You don't have a whole lot of time to do something. And when you watch the Lions D line, it doesn't look anything like that. All right, Gun Guy, 21 points in 5 minutes. This firepower is what will keep us live. Yeah, and I think it's going to need to be relied on more and more going down the stretch here. Southwest Lions, 3 of the Saints touchdown drives. They converted 3rd and long for over 10 yards. They're not going to get rid of AG, but they need to do a deep dive into the tape to see if this can be fixed. Yeah, they need to make these corrections. John Kamish, Benito Jones, Bugs, Bahana, Romeo Quara, Jerry Jacobs, Charles Harris. Man, these guys come off the scrap heap. Brad simply has to pay, period. Yeah, and I think, man, if you can add this offseason one guy to the secondary, and I mean a corner, not a safety, one guy to the edge and one guy to the interior defensive line, then this defense starts looking a whole lot different. Again, they have to stay healthy, though. Mile marker, while it seems that AG and Brad Johnson backed off, that assumes they know what to do. Do they? Especially the last half of the season. It's a fair question, Mile marker. Fair question. One funky. Goff made like 3 legit nice throws. Let me guess, he also sealed that back out for GMO. 2, it wasn't Laporta. Goff is the definition of mid. Yes, he shows poise, but he was not throwing well. I mean, I get your point on that one, Funky. The only thing I'm going to say is we're all hoping Hooker can be something we don't know yet. And that's the real worry I have is it's so easy to get stuck on a hype train, especially for a rookie. Look at the NFL, just say the last 40 years. How many dudes that are quarterbacks were drafted in the 1st or 2nd round that we're sure this guy is going to be something, and they end up being busts? Hooker might be the greatest quarterback ever to be in the NFL, or he could be a bust. Right now, I'm just going to say what I think. It doesn't have to be what you think. I don't know enough about him to be able to say one way or the other. I'm going to guess that's why they got him under the 21-day clock right now. They want to get some ideas for him before they make a judgment on Goff. I won't be surprised if Goff doesn't get a deal this offseason for one simple reason, or unless it's a very team-friendly one, because they want to see what they have in Hooker before they commit to Goff for 3, 4, 5 years. And again, unless it's a team-friendly deal where maybe they extend him for 2, 3 years and say, hey, we can buy you out here and get out of this contract if need be. Goff, to me, I know you use the word mid. Goff, to me, can he be a 10 through 5 quarterback in the NFL? When he's on, yes, he is. Can he also be 10 through 18 in the league? This is also true. But I also say this. There are 32 teams in the NFL, and I'd say you get to basically 15 or 16 and on up, and then you got the rest below you. And the ones below you, they would be begging for Goff because there is such a shortage of quarterbacks in this league that can really impact the game. So there's a ton of teams that will take him because he's going to supersede what they have. Whether or not Hooker is better than Goff, I don't know yet. Brother Ken, Hooker, I totally agree. The Seminoles, Hooker, I totally agree. The Seminoles were totally screwed by the college football playoffs. I was a little surprised they were left off. We'll put it that way. Don, 2 more wins. Lions win the North, not going to take 4. Okay, yeah, and I think I caught that earlier, but thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. Is it 2, though? Because 2 gets you to 11, and I know Eduardo was saying you get to 11, you get the tiebreakers over the pack. So you guys probably deep dive that stuff better than I can right now on air. So thank you for that, though. Corey, what do you got? Tiebreakers go division record. If that's tied, it's going to go to common opponent's record. Okay. Steve, born in 63 and never seen a 9-3. So this is great. but we're beating teams that make mistakes. The playoffs won't have those teams. They make that many mistakes. Yeah, I agree. It will be another level in the playoffs. But we can also look at it this way. Getting there will give this very young team a lot more experience. And my guess is, since we rely so much on our draft picks, we're going to have, probably a few more guys come in next year from the draft, assuming that, we hit like we have been for the last 3 years on draft picks. They're going to be impact players who can come in and potentially make this team even a little bit younger. Don, not worried about Packers. I hope you're right, man. Southwest, one funky. I think Goff is a good QB, but like most QBs, he can't do it alone. That's probably a very fair statement. That's why he needs to be reasonable and expectations on compensation. Follow the Brady model, less than 13% of cap. If we could get him to do that, then I think it's going to be hard to move off of him. If he comes in and takes like a $35 million a year deal, just frees up more money to help the team. And to your point, help keep a good product around him too. My market, Terrence Coleman, you got that right. Yes, agreed. One funky, the first tiebreaker is shared opponents, then division record, then conference. Thank you for that. And again, I didn't do much of a deep dive on that coming in. I was hoping you guys could help out with that. Corey, all you Lions fans are fake. So afraid of 6-6 teams. Hey, just happens, man. I just want them to, if they could just lose out, that'd be okay. Southwest Dan, I think Brian Flores runs circles around Aaron Glenn. Yeah, but he's also got a lot more experience than him. But man, if you could sign him, I'd make him the DC associate head coach tonight. Get him. Do you really think the Vikings have that much better defensive personnel? In certain spots, yes. Than the Lions, yes. And their ability to get to the quarterback, definitely at this point. After that, I would say this. I think the Lions have some of the better linebackers in the division, not the league, in the division. It's just up front on that D line where I think, unfortunately, we just haven't hit on enough picks. And that's unfortunately, you get pressure on the other quarterback. A lot of the rest of that defense starts looking a whole lot better. Gun guy, haters gonna hate. They do. Don, what do you got? Just tell me Frank Ragnow is okay. Won't know for probably until, it's possible today. My guess is tomorrow. JDC, Villard Dudley noted. Yep. Duly noted. Okay. Southwest, one funky Southwest. I don't hate Goff. I hate the slappies that think he is this amazing QB, and he's just not. Fair enough. All right, Don, Southwest Line, no AG. It's just bad at putting guys in the right places. Yeah, he stinks to me. Well, that could be true, 100%. Southwest, I've supported Goff and continue to support him, but he needs to be reasonable about how much he's paid. I'd say he's in the top 8 to 15 QBs. I'd say that's a fair range for him. It just, again, it's going to come down to what him and his representation will take. If you could get him anywhere around 40 to 35 million, somewhere in that range, I think it's going to be pretty dang tempting to lock him up for a while, because as we all know, every year he's in that contract ultimately becomes cheaper for the team. All right, Don, all AG is hit the podium trying to sound all deep, saying we like that player every 5 minutes. Correct. Zach, what do you got? Still can't contain a running QB. Taysom killed us. Won't beat Philly or even Dak's Cowboys. I would just say, man, one problem at a time. Let's go ahead and just get the division, secure whatever seed we're going to be in the playoffs, and then we can focus on who we're going to face in the playoffs. But to your point, yes, we've got some deficiencies for sure. James, I don't know if my 79-year-old heart can handle 5 more games like this, but I will try, sir. Easy wins are no fun. That was a thriller. It was. Don, yeah, I got you, man. Gun guy, make a Super Bowl is enough for me. Not to mention Lions doing better than they ever done before. But yeah, don't need to fix it if it ain't broken. I get you, man. None of us have seen any of this before, not to this level or extent. So we do need to take a grain of salt. We're probably going to finish with double-digit wins. I would say that's a fair expectation at this point. You guys have brought up the point we only need 2 more wins to win the NFC North. Let's focus on that. then get greedy and say, hey, can we get to this seed or that seed for this matchup or that matchup? I will say this, there's a strong possibility that the Lions face the Packers in the first round of the playoffs. There's even some potential for the Rams. Minnesota is going to control their own fate. Who knows what's going on with their quarterback situation? Maybe Dobbs rights the ship and they're a real threat too. Maybe he doesn't. That we'll have to see down the road. Lions talk with the bad guy, John Kapler, tied first. It could happen, man. It could. Don Burr, I think Dan Campbell is letting his friendship with Aaron Glenn. Oh, this probably, yeah. Friendship with Aaron Glenn cloud his better judgment. He got rid of Anthony Lynn. AG is doing no better in 3 years. Yeah, and I know Campbell was friends with Lynn as well. And I do think there's a much deeper friendship, like you're pointing out, Southwest with AG. That's going to be a tough one. I don't think anything's going to happen to the offseason. But in the offseason, there's probably going to have to be a review of things. All right, one or two more, and then it's time for me to hit the Deuce store. The Circle K is calling me. Bergs, it's December, and the Lions in playoff talk. Number 2, talk. It's let's enjoy this. Yeah, I would agree. For 2 straight years, we're in the playoff conversation. Not only that, but this year we're actually in the conversation to win the division and playoff seeding. So this team, this program, this franchise, this front office keeps evolving us forward. We can all point out some of the negatives. That's our right as fans. Nothing wrong with it. But let's also take a moment of pause and say, hey, for over the most part of the last 30 years, we would all been dying for something like this. We've got it. It's here. Yes, we blew a 21-point lead, but we didn't blow it enough to blow the game. So there's that too. We've got a young team, young coaching staff. We're all growing with them. We're all wanting more. And we're all getting probably more than we would have guessed 3 years ago when this regime took over. So take that as a final thought for the day. I got to get going. I got to get the Mountain Dew and then get ready for work. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Trying to make that push to get 4,700 and 4,800 before kickoff against the Bears. If you can do your part to help out with that, I would be very thankful. Enjoy the rest of your days. Hit the thumbs up button, all that jazz. If there's some breaking news, I'll get on the mic as fast as I can today to you guys. I do have some coaching responsibilities today, though, so keep that in mind. Take care, and we'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. See you all.